Welcome to the Trojan Round Table, where 9 friends turn the most trivial topics into full-blown, passionate debate. Every episode, we rank our top 10 takes, from food and movies to sports, zoo animals, and everything in between. Then we seed those rankings into a bracket and vote, round by round, argument by argument, until only one topic is left standing. No experts, no safe opinions, just strong takes, bad logic, and friendships hanging by a thread. This is the Trojan Round Table. Let the debate begin. Welcome to episode 4 here. We're going to break down our bracket. But first, let's introduce ourselves here. I'm Devin.
I'm Logan.
I'm Jet.
Colton.
I'm Dan.
We got a couple guys not with us tonight. Harrison, Trenton, Jacob, and Kyle are not with us. We'll make up for it here. So we're into our bracket episode of the Winter Olympic sports here. It's going to be a fun one. Only 8 are going to be seeded in the bracket, but it's going to give for some better debate here. So we'll start with what the seeds look like. So number 1 is ice hockey. By a landslide is our number 1 seed. Number 2 is curling. Wasn't ranked on a ton of lists, but it garnered a ton of points because it was on everybody's list. Number 3 is alpine skiing. Number 4 is snowboarding. Number 5 is short track speed skating. Number 6, bobsled. Number 7, speed skating. And then 8, luge. So a couple that didn't make it, and there's a lot of debate about figure skating, skeleton, things along those lines that didn't make the bracket here. So let's get into the bracket as we get rolling here. So here's the matchups. So first we have ice hockey versus luge, snowboarding versus short track speed skating, curling versus speed skating, and an alpine skiing versus bobsled. Let's start with the 1 seed here against the 8. We got ice hockey versus luge. Somebody tell me how luge has a chance here.
Luge the head first one.
Feet first. No, on your back. Feet first.
Luge is on your back.
Never mind. That was my only argument I had. That was all I had. I got nothing now.
I mean, just the intensity. Hockey just gets so long. Like some of the games, you're just like, oh my god, it's just dragging out. You might as well just turn on the last 5 minutes. But just strictly the intensity would be the reason that it would potentially get a vote over ice hockey.
I think. Yeah, the heats of the luge, right? Like any run could win it and any run could lose it. I mean, you're not watching Finland versus Czechia in the pool rounds of hockey. And if you loved hockey that much, you'd probably be watching that. So, I call on your guys' bluff on that, but you're tuned into luge, right? Feet first, on your back, flying down the ice track. There's some excitement there, where not every hockey game, I don't think, has some excitement. Does anybody here honestly think luge has a chance? Does anybody here think luge has a chance to win this?
No.
It's not head first, then no.
Ice hockey is it's the Winter Olympics.
I mean, yeah. Unanimous 9-0. Ice hockey beats luge. So great job trying to debate it. Because it wasn't head first, Jit, luge didn't have a chance there.
No.
Let's get into our 4-5 matchups. Who's going to meet ice hockey in the semifinals? So we got snowboarding versus short track speed skating.
It was 10 years ago. Snowboarding might have a chance.
Yeah.
I can agree. Snowboarding was bigger back a few years ago than it is now.
I mean, short track is what people turn into. I think I said in the last episode, it's like the 100 meters. It's going to fill a stadium. It's everybody's going to get in there and everybody's going to watch it because it's crazy intensity, the same that we talked about with luge.
What's the guy's name in speed skating?
Paulo Anton.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Remember watching him speed skating and Shaun White. Probably about the same time, wasn't it?
That's a great name drop. We got the Shaun Whites, we got our Lindsey Vonns, who's still competing in these Olympics.
Only names
now
I
we
know.
got Paulo Anton Ono. Yeah, heck yeah. Some of the best Winter Olympic Americans in recent memory here. So some fun stuff. I don't know if you guys knew this.
Go ahead.
South Korea dominates in the short track, and China in the last couple Olympics has made up a lot of ground. The United States doesn't really do that well in speed skating, especially since Anton Ono isn't in there anymore. The U.S. has kind of fallen off. Does that hurt the watchability of it at all? Watching other nations winning gold over our Americans.
Well, it's like soccer. I only watch soccer during the Olympics, and usually I don't really care who's on. But it also helps if there's an American team in it or an American in it. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
You said you only watch during the Olympics. Just making sure you watch during the Olympics and the World Cup. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, the World Cup also.
Just making sure.
I think of it like any other sport. You're like NFL team's bad. You're still going to watch them every week, even though they suck. So kind of the same thing here. If the USA isn't competing in it, we're still going to watch.
Yeah, I don't associate it with any certain country because they can all do more than I can, and it's entertaining to watch.
So I think right now, Devin, to rebut your point that you made about South Korea, Canada is two of the top three ranked short track speed skaters in the world right now on the men's side. So, I mean, I can give Canada, U.S. I think that'd be fun, just to try to see what we can do. I think anytime you can, again, everybody competing for their country makes it super super fun, anyways. So the best part about short track speed skating is it can go absolutely catastrophic in seconds. And somebody wipes out, takes out the rest of the group. It's awesome. Not for them, but obviously for viewing purposes.
100%. I mean, here's some facts for you. So the 1500 meter on the short track. So South Korea has won 4 of the last 5 golds in the 1500. The United States has 3 medals all time, and 2 of the 3 are Apollo Anton Ono in 2002 and 2010. So just talking about the domination of the Koreans a little bit there. But yeah, you're talking about anything can happen. There's chaos all the time. I don't know what happened in the 2022 500 meters, but Hungary won gold. And it's their only medal ever in the 500 meter. So like anybody can win at any time. Seems a little bit of a crapshoot in there, if you will. And I think that makes it all that more fun.
So for watchability purposes for Colton, Corinne Stoddard ranked 3rd in the world right now in the 500 short track, and Kristen Santos Griswold ranked 5th in the world right now in the 500 short track. So, just to try to start getting those names out for people to watch, we've got a couple in the top 5. We might be able to, pull a medal out there.
I said this in the last episode. Somebody cue up Freebird. No. So, snowboarding. So we spent a lot of time on the short track. Talked about snowboarding. Maybe would have voted for it more 10 years ago. Is the X Games have a factor in snowboarding? Anybody here vote for snowboarding in this matchup?
I might have.
No.
I don't remember.
I don't think I did.
It's speed skating.
Yeah, speed skating won, and it wasn't close. It was a 7-2 vote. So that's our first Final Four matchup. We have ice hockey versus short track speed skating. That's gonna be a fun matchup when you get there. So let's go over to our 2 seed. We had curling. There's been a lot of talk about curling in the last couple of episodes. Everybody loves to watch curling once every 4 years. It's one of those sports we all feel like, we're part of the team. We feel like maybe we would have a chance if we were competing against it. But it's going up against speed skating, okay? The 400-meter track speed skating. What's the debate for either of those?
Like I said, curling is a slept-on sport. That's about all
I think
got.
Curling's just one of those things that you just, you can sit down, you can kind of zone out a little bit. You've got some time to watch it, and plus you got the U.S. is going to compete, so that always makes it fun on the Olympic side.
Yeah,
I think curling is almost one you could almost relate to the athletes a little bit more because they're not
much better. Yeah,
they don't always have to be in crazy physique or crazy shape or anything like that. Like we said last episode, you can watch it and think you can go out there and do it, even though we all know you can't. But you can kind of have that in your head, like, oh, I could do that, which makes it a little bit more fun. Yelling at the TV, why don't you?
Sweep harder.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk about curling here. Just to give speed skating a shot here, not saying I voted that way, but just give speed skating a shot. So it's on a 1,400-meter track. It's long track. They do a ton of laps. Typically, it's 2 skaters going at once. And they start on opposite ends. And it's kind of speed trials, if you will. Like, it's not who crosses the finish line first. Obviously, that's a part of it, and that's how time works. But like, they're not crossing the same finish line at the same time. So even that seems a little different than that. But there's this one called mass finish, and there's 16 racers in the finals on this massive track, and it's 16 laps. And every 4th, 8th, and 12th lap, the people in 1st, 2nd, 3rd get points. And then how you finish, if you're finished 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, you get points as well. And it's just points. It really doesn't have a lot to do with time. It's how many points can you gain, and it's absolute chaos. It was new in 2022. I'd be very interested to see it here in 2026. It's a new sport. I think they're trying to make it more exciting. I don't know how exciting it actually is on the long track. Speaking of countries that dominate sports, the Dutch, they dominate the speed skating circuit on the 400-meter track. But yeah, does that change anybody's vote there? Talking about our mass finish.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Or is everybody stopping curling?
Track speed skating is more it feels more like, I'm a track coach, so like the 3,000. If it's a good heat, yeah, I'll watch it, but I don't really want to watch a bunch of nobodies running that I don't know, running or doing that. If it's on, I might just turn it on, but doesn't have the
It's one of those.
appeal
Just
of the
let
short
us know.
track.
Let us know when the last couple laps are, because then that's when it's fun. That's what everything is. And that's not to like degrade the training and everything that goes into it, and the nuance of the race, but that's the whole thing is the last lap.
So that is speed skating's last lap. So obviously a lot to talk about curling. 9-0 vote, not competitive. Curling's on to the final four. So the last matchup of our first round here is alpine skiing against bobsled. Dan, you said bobsled is the best PR time of all time on our last episode. You got anything for bobsled here of how they can beat alpine skiing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just you're just potentially waiting for the wipeouts and all those things. But I think that's easily trumped by the skiing variety. We see plenty of wipeouts in that. Nobody's obviously wishing for people to get hurt, especially JIT. But it's it's one of those things that I think bobsled that would be the appeal for it. Is just the racing and the speed, and then the like kind of pucker it up because you're worried about how things are going to go and what's going to happen.
I didn't have alpine skiing on my list, so I was definitely more towards bobsled. Then it just I voted differently, obviously.
Yeah, I mean there is 10 different events in the alpine skiing, all different types. They're flying. There's one event where they literally will catch up to 100 miles per hour going down the hill. Like that's insane. Like it's riveting stuff. Again, one great run, one terrible wipeout, one I think can change the entire medal standings. I don't think it's that much of a competition. And the vote showed that. It was, even though Colton didn't put alpine skiing on his list, put bobsled one. Bobsled didn't get a single vote. Which makes no sense to me, but people are allowed to change their minds. So here we are. We got
bobsled was fifth. Come on.
So we have our final four here. Ice hockey versus short track speed skating, curling versus alpine skiing. We got some really good events here, some that you only see once every 4 years. First matchup here, ice hockey versus short track speed skating. Who wants to argue it?
And I think that's the argument against ice hockey here. The number one overall seed is that it's just on all the time. Is it too watered down? We talked about this with the X Games and snowboarding. Is ice hockey just too boring? But the thing it has going for it is now you're playing for your team. So similar to Four Nations, where just the intensity of playing for your own country, similar to the FIFA World Cup, it completely changes things. And so, speed skating's intense and it's fun and all those things, but just the constant back and forth, through the hockey world is interesting.
Looking at like the Four Nations, they had the pros playing. They don't have the pros playing. If they had the pros playing, I don't think it'd even be a question who wins this.
Biggest hockey fan here is Logan. Logan, why do you love hockey so much?
The intensity, the electricity in the stadium while you're at a game there's no better feeling than being in a stadium when your team is winning. What I was more interested by is why speed skating didn't do as well in this one.
Yes. I mean, I voted speed skating. I was the only one that didn't have ice hockey in my top two. I talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but I think what Colton alluded to, like the pros not being a part of it is huge. Like we're going to get the best of the best. Like we want the best of the best going at it. I mean, ice hockey throughout history has meant so much to so many nations, including Canada, including us here in the United States. And like those matchups are what pours it on, for, I want to say like hatred, but like just passion for it, right? And it's always one of the last events, if not the last events of the Olympics. And I talked about this in the last episode, but like when it was in Vancouver in 2010, you get the Americans and the Canadians, like the rivalry, and it was just so great. And we got the Miracle on Ice, and like everybody talks about these great hockey matchups, but like then now the pros aren't a part of it. And I know they weren't the Miracle on Ice, and that's so long ago, but also like we just had the World Juniors, right? Yeah, the Four Nations. Like you have hockey a lot on the national stage. Often you get to see short track speed skating, right? And you get these stars that pop up once every 4 years. It's insanity, really. You got such a tiny track. You got blades, you got helmets, you got people flying around, wipeouts, terminating races. Like I think speed tracks or short track speed skating deserves the nod just because of the fun of it. That's the Olympics. It's a lot like swimming to me for the Summer Olympics. Like yes, it's around, and you can watch it if you really are passionate about it. But like to the average viewer and myself,
you're not going to watch it.
This is the time to watch it. And I can watch hockey any night, if I really want to.
Yeah, I can respect that you don't see speed skating as often as hockey. But to me, being a hockey fan, it's just I get more enjoyment out of watching hockey than I do speed skating. I can see the entertainment from both sides, but hockey just takes the cake for me.
Well, this was closer than the experts thought it might have been. Okay. Final vote ended up being a 5-3. I don't know who abstained, but the vote didn't matter. Could have won either way there. But ice hockey, first one in the finals here. And it's going to match up with either curling or alpine skiing. So we have our 2 seed versus our 3 seed here. There's been a lot of talk about curling. Somebody tell me why curling should match up with ice hockey in the finals.
I mean, we've talked about curling ad nauseum about how it's that piece of where everybody kind of thinks like, oh, I might be able to get this one. It feels like you're closer to it. The Americans, are competing seemingly regularly, even though they're not ranked high in men's, women's, or mixed doubles. But I think as we start to get down to it, the skill in my mind kind of takes over. Like the skill of alpine skiing is what kind of was like, oh, okay, now and again, the diversity of it too. There's so many pieces of alpine skiing. It's a little, I wouldn't say unfair, but it's a little bit kind of like there's so many things that go into it. How many do we have? 11?
10 events. Yeah, 10 events.
10, yeah. So 10 events. I mean, it's just the diversity of it is what kind of, for me, what kind of shifted my vote over that way.
I mean, to give a little more, go a little deeper into it for the alpine skiing side of it. So there's 5 events, men and women both medal in each. So that's where you get to the 10 events. But you got the downhill. That's one where you can get speeds up to 100 miles per hour going downhill. I mean, it's insane. They're just flying as fast as they can from the top to the bottom. You got the Super G. A little bit downhill, but it's also the slalom where you got to go in and around the gates a little bit. You got the giant slalom. Same thing. The gates are a little bit closer. But people are flying down these hills. And again, no one's hoping for the wipeout, but it's like, oh my God, these people are like cutting those corners down close they can get, shave off as much time as possible, get a wipeout, really get some big injuries, and no one's like paying attention for that. But like the way that they're putting it on the edge, like you're not putting your health on the edge in curling. Like you're just not in the same way. Then you got the slalom, and you got the alpine combined, where it's a couple runs. You get the downhill and you get a couple slaloms, and you're just counting up all the times as you're doing it. Like it's just, you're phenomenal athletes. And you get some nations that are well represented in it. You get Austria, and you get some Norway in there, Switzerland, along with the Americans. Michaela Schifrin is back here. Lindsey Vonn, probably her last Olympics going through it. But like, just some great names, some great nations, some nations that you don't always see in the Olympics, and they're competing in some ferocious races. Like these races are intense. And I had alpine skiing number 1. That's my soapbox. I love curling. I think we've unintentionally disrespected curling enough. But that's my nod towards alpine skiing. Any other takes there?
Kind of about the same for both, for what everyone's already said.
Yeah, so the final vote there went alpine skiing got 6 of the 9 votes. So alpine skiing pulls off the upset. Again, curling was on every single list. Alpine skiing was not, but alpine skiing came away with enough votes to make its way to the finals. So our Winter Olympic Sports Championship comes down to ice hockey versus alpine skiing. I wanted my whole soapbox there in the semifinal about alpine skiing. I'm voting alpine skiing. It's been my number 1. You guys all voted or had ice hockey higher on your list. Is this a fair matchup here? Does alpine skiing have a chance?
No, sorry.
No.
Sorry to break it to you.
I think, yeah, especially when you get into bracket play of hockey, it completely changes things. Skiing, I think hockey would be a no-brainer if they had household names, but I think by the end of the hockey piece in the Olympics, when we start getting into the finals and whatnot, now you kind of know those names, right? You start to know those people, and I think we talked about the PR team for bobsled. I think hockey's PR team just inadvertently, because they don't allow NHL players in, it completely changes. You're trying to get to know everybody and trying to figure out who's who. So yeah, I think for me, it's been hockey, and it'll continue to be hockey. The diversity of alpine skiing helps. The fact that the U.S. has a little bit of a chance in hockey versus alpine skiing, I think we know some names, but the reality is I think we're going to see the same Austria, Switzerland, some of the big time ski areas, ski countries, I should say, just absolutely dominate. And maybe we'll pop in, maybe. But at least in hockey, we kind of like, hey, we did pretty well in the junior, so we'll kind of see what happens here.
And there's nothing like that American pride, right? Drawing eyeballs. There's nothing better than watching the men's and women's national hockey teams in the finals and the going for gold. should hopefully be favorites in both, I would think. Any other final hot takes?
I think we got the right final. I think, this, we'll see some in some other brackets that potentially we ended up with some odd matchups. This one probably seemed like the most relevant.
I think that's a great take. I think there's been a lot of controversy from our first episode about some Cinderella runs, some upsets. There might be one next week. Spoiler alert, you're going to want to tune in for that. But this is pretty fair here with the Olympic sports. I think the best sport won, even though I voted for Alpine's King. I definitely love my ice hockey going United States. But yeah, so today is the first event of the Winter Olympics. And opening ceremonies are Friday night. Hope you can tune in, watch them. After you watch a little bit, chime off in the comments. Tell us where we're good. Tell us where we messed up. And then go on and rank. Give us your top 10 ranking of your favorites after you watch the Olympics here the next couple weeks as we get through this. And all you do that is go to the link in the description, take you to a Google form, and we want to find out what your top 10 is. Tell us what it is. We'll put into a bracket for you, just like we did a bracket for y'all. We'll tell you if you're good or not. But we'd love to do that for you. Determine the fans champion. There's nothing better than crowning a gold medal here for the Olympics and then for the fans and for ourselves here. So thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you next week. The topic you're not going to want to miss. Going to get some new people on the pod for next week, some new faces. Have some great arguments. And it's as trivial as it gets. So we'll see you next time.